The tear that changed everything was supposed to be just another day on set. The lights were up, the cameras were ready, and the crew buzzed with quiet energy. The location was a small soundstage in Los Angeles, but the scene they were about to film felt big. It was a confrontation scene, one that demanded emotion, tension, and complete vulnerability. Ana de Armas had been preparing for it for days, lines memorized, emotions loaded, but something inside her felt off. No one noticed it at first. No one saw the quiet tremble in her hands as she adjusted her costume. No one heard the small sigh she gave when the director called places. No one except one man, Keanu Reeves. He stood a few feet away, waiting for the cameras to roll, but his eyes were locked on her, not with judgment, not even concern. Just quiet attention. The kind you only give when you've been through it too. Ana walked to her mark. The scene began. Her voice cracked on the second line. The director let it slide. She kept going. She was supposed to shout in this scene, supposed to hit a high note of anger, but her voice faded into a whisper. Her bottom lip trembled, and then without warning, a single tear slipped down her cheek. Everyone thought it was part of the scene, except Keanu stepped forward before the director yelled, "Cut." Silence fell. The camera kept rolling. Keanu walked straight to Ana and whispered something no one could hear. Her shoulders shook. The camera operator lowered the rig. The director looked confused. Keanu didn't care. He put his arm around Ana and gently guided her off the set. No one moved. 10 minutes past 15. When they came back, her eyes were red but peaceful. The scene was postponed. The director wasn't happy, but no one said a word, not after the way Keanu looked at him. It wasn't anger. It was quiet, patient defiance. It's the kind of look that says, "I've seen worse, and this doesn't matter right now." Later that evening, Ana sat alone in her trailer. The lights were dim, the door was closed, and her phone was off. She stared at a half-eaten protein bar and tried not to cry again. There was a knock. She wiped her eyes quickly. "Come in," she said, voice barely above a whisper. Keanu stepped in, holding 2 cups of tea. "I didn't know if you drank this," he said, "but it helps me." Ana gave a weak smile. "Thank you," sat opposite her, quiet. "I didn't mean to ruin the scene," she said after a moment. "You didn't," Keanu said. "You just showed us something more real." She looked down. "I almost walked away from this film yesterday." Keanu didn't blink. "Why?" Her eyes filled again. She looked away, ashamed. "I got a message from my mom," she said. "She's not well. She didn't want to tell me at first, but now it's serious. I feel like I should be with her." The contract. Keanu leaned forward. "What's more important to you right now?" Ana swallowed. "My mom." Keanu nodded. "Then that's your answer? But they'll replace me, maybe, and it'll be my fault." "No," he said gently. "It'll be their loss." Silence fell again. "Do you want to go home?" he asked softly. "I do," she whispered, tears falling now. "Then go." He said, "I'll handle it." "What do you mean?" "I'll talk to them. And if they don't listen, I'll walk too." Ana's eyes widened. "Keanu, you can't do that." "Yes," he said quietly, "I can." Outside, the sun had started to set. The sky burned orange and gold through the trailer's tiny window. Ana stared at it, heart heavy but slowly feeling lighter. "Why are you being so kind to me?" she asked. Keanu looked at her, a softness in his gaze that made her chest ache. "Because someone once did the same for me," he said, "and it saved my life." Ana didn't know what to say. "I'll book your flight," Keanu added. "You don't have to tell anyone. I'll take care of it." She nodded slowly, wiping her eyes. "Thank you." He stood. "Pack what you need. I'll come back in 10 minutes. As he walked to the door, she spoke again. "Keanu." He turned. "You're more than people say you are." He smiled. "So are you." And then he was gone. That night, Keanu made calls first to the studio. They pushed back, they argued, they threatened to go public. He didn't flinch. Then, "Release a statement," he said calmly. but include this. I will not finish this film unless Anna comes back when she's ready. They paused. He continued. I'll pay the delay fees if I have to. I'll fund the extra shoot days. Just give her 2 weeks. A long silence. Finally, someone on the other end said, We'll think about it. No, Keanu said. You'll decide tonight. The next morning, Anna was on a flight to Havana, and a letter from the studio arrived in her inbox. Subject: Temporary leave approve body. We support you during this difficult time. Your role is safe. Come back when you're ready. Anna read it twice before believing it. In Havana, her mother's condition was worse than she feared. The hospital visits were hard. But being there gave her strength. Her mother smiled through the pain. And Anna sat beside her every day, reading poetry and stories like she used to as a child. Every night, she'd get a message from Keanu sometimes. It was a quote. Sometimes it was a photo of the empty set. Sometimes just 2 words. Take care. On the 7th night, her mother asked, Who's this man who writes you every night? Anna smiled softly. A friend. Her mother raised an eyebrow. A good friend? The best? Does he love you? Anna laughed. No, I don't. Think so, her mother smiled. Maybe not yet. Anna looked at the message again. It was short but powerful. Grief is love without a place to go. Let it move through you. I'll be here when it does. And she cried. Not because of sadness, but because someone saw her pain, didn't run from it. When Anna returned to the set 2 weeks later, the crew stopped and clapped. She wasn't expecting it. She covered her face, embarrassed and overwhelmed. Keanu stood quietly behind everyone. He didn't clap. He just smiled and nodded. A soft nod. A quiet nod. One that said, You made it through. And deep down, Anna knew. This story, this film was no longer just a job. It was a turning point. And it all started with one tear and one man who didn't hesitate to act. Whispers behind the curtain next morning. The air on set felt different. Warmer somehow. Softer. The assistant director gave her a fresh copy of the script and smiled. It wasn't a forced smile. It was real, genuine. Anna felt like she was walking into a family gathering instead of a film shoot. People she barely spoke to before now greeted her with hugs. Someone had even left a cup of Cuban coffee in her trailer before she arrived. A note was taped to the cup. Welcome back, warrior. No signature, but she already knew it was Keanu. Anna sat in her trailer for a moment, just breathing. The past 2 weeks had been heavy. Her mother's condition stabilized. Not better, not worse. But the time they shared, it healed something inside Anna. Something she hadn't known was broken. And now she was back. Back to the story. Back to the stage. But something had shifted inside her. She wasn't the same woman who had walked off set 2 weeks ago with tears in her eyes. This version of Inaz, one walked with purpose. The scene they were filming that day was intense. A long monologue. Raw. Emotionally brutal. It was the kind of material actors either loved or feared. Anna used to fear it, but not now. Keanu stood behind the camera, watching. He wasn't in this scene, but he showed up anyway, just to support. The director called action. Anna breathed in, stepped into character, and let everything go. The pain, the waiting, the doubt. She used it. She let it bleed into every word. She said every gesture, every breath. By the end of the take, the set was silent. No one said a word, not even the director. Finally, the sound guy whispered, Damn. The director wiped his glasses and muttered, That was something else. Anna stood there, eyes wet but steady. Then she saw Keanu nod, and she smiled. Later that day, as the crew packed up, Anna found a quiet spot under a tree near the lot. She liked being away from the noise. She was flipping through her script when someone sat beside her. She didn't have to look. I saw you, Keanu said, handing her a small box. What's this? A thank you. She opened it. Inside was a tiny silver pendant, simple, delicate, a tiny wave etched into its center. "What does it mean?" she asked. "Movement," he said. "Flow. Change. Act. It's beautiful. You earned it." Anna traced the wave with her thumb. "I was terrified this morning. You didn't look it? I still am. So am I." She looked at him, surprised. "You?" she asked. "Every time I step in front of a camera, I wonder if this is the moment I forget how to be real." Anna stared at him for a long moment. "You always seem so calm." "I'm calm," he said. "But I'm not fearless." Those words settled deep in her heart. "Can I ask you something?" she said quietly. "Sure. Why do you stay so humble?" Keanu leaned back, eyes following the sunlight through the leaves. "Because fame is loud," he said. "But pain is quiet. It hides in corners. It whispers. And if you stop listening, you forget how to see it in others." Anna was silent. "So I try to stay small," he continued, "so I can hear the whispers." Anna closed the box and held it close. "Thank you," she said. He didn't answer. He just smiled. 2 days later, the press arrived. Paparazzi hovered near the gates. Reporters buzzed near the trailers. Someone leaked that Anna had been granted leave, and they wanted answers. Anna avoided them. But the questions came anyway. Was she really sick? Did she fight with the director? Did Keanu pull strings for her? Rumors spread like fire. By noon, one headline read, "Anna walks off set Reeves. Halts production in protest." It wasn't true, but it was catchy. Anna read it in her trailer inside. Her phone buzzed. A text from Keanu. "They'll twist it. But your truth is stronger?" She stared at the words for a long time. Then she walked out of her trailer. Straight to the press tent. Everyone turned when she stepped inside. Flashbulbs, questions, microphones shoved forward. But Anna raised one hand, and silence fell. "I left the set because my mother was sick," she said, her voice calm and steady. "I didn't walk out. I didn't quit. I asked for time, and they gave it." She paused. Keanu didn't protest. He supported. Another pause. "And that's what this business needs more of. Support, not scandal." Silence. Someone whispered, "Thank you." That was it. She turned and walked away. Keanu was waiting by the edge of the lot. "You didn't have to do that," he said. "I did." He looked at her, quietly proud. "You're not just strong," he said. "You're brave." Anna smiled. "I learned from the best." The film continued, but the bond between them, it deepened. They shared lunch between. Takes talked late into the night, sometimes in silence, sometimes with stories. Anna told him about growing up in Cuba. He told her about losing his best friend. One night, for a long shoot, they walked the empty lot under the stars. Anna said, "You ever feel like this life moves too fast?" Keanu looked up. "All the time. And we miss what matters. Only if we let it." She stopped walking. "What if I'm still missing it?" He looked at her for a long time. "Then slow down," he said, "and see what's right in front of you." She met his eyes, and for the first time, she didn't look away. Rumors about them began to grow, but neither of them responded because something was forming. Not a romance. Not yet, but something just as powerful. A trust, a shelter, and that shelter was tested one later. When Anna received a call from the hospital in Havana, her mother had taken a turn, and time was running out. She dropped the phone and ran. Dad explained to the crew. Dad say goodbye. Just ran. Keanu found her at the airport, standing at the gate in tears. "They won't let me board," she whispered. "My passport's locked for production. It's a contract clause. They blocked international travel unless it's approved." Keanu didn't speak. He just took out his phone, called someone, said 3 words, "Unlock her passport." A pause now. Right. Then he turned to Anna. "They'll call you in 5 minutes." She stared at him, stunned. "How did you don't have time for that?" And he handed her his jacket. "It's cold on flights," he said, and stepped back. That night, Anna sat by her mother's side once more. And this time, she didn't need to worry about anything. Because back in Los Angeles, Keanu had taken on every meeting, every delay, every consequence, so she could have just one more goodbye on the third day. Her mother passed, peacefully, quietly, holding Ana's hand. Ana stayed another week, this time not for her mother, but for herself. She walked old. Neighborhoods visited the sea. Read old letters, and every night she got a message from Keanu, just one sentence, sometimes a quote, sometimes a poem, but always full of light. On the final night, the message read, "I left your trailer light on. Whenever you're ready, it's waiting." Ana stared at that message for a long time, then she packed her bags and headed, not to Los Angeles, but to the people who waited with love, and the man who saw her at her lowest and didn't hesitate to lift her. A silence only he understood. Set was quiet when Ana returned, not quiet in the usual way, where people just weren't talking. It was the kind of silence that felt respectful, like everyone had agreed without speaking to give her space. Her trailer was exactly how she left it. Even the teacup from that last morning sat where she had put it, cleaned, dried, untouched. The tiny wave pendant was still on her table, next to a small sticky note in familiar handwriting. "Breathe. You're back. I'm proud of you." Ana read it 3 times before gently folding it and placing it in her pocket. She didn't cry, not this time. Her grief was still there, but it had changed. It wasn't raw anymore. It lived deeper now, settled. In her chest, like a slow-burning flame, it didn't scream, whispered, and Keanu still heard it. They resumed filming that afternoon. The scene was a delicate one. Ana and Keanu's characters were supposed to reconnect after a long separation. It was about honesty, about wounds being reopened before healing could begin. The director had been nervous about this, when he knew how close it hit to real life. But he didn't have to be, because when the cameras rolled, Ana didn't act. She lived the moment, the way she looked at Keanu during the scene. It wasn't scripted, it was real grief, crust, confusion, the quiet kind of love people don't know how to name. And Keanu, he didn't break eye contact. Not once. The scene ended, and no one called cut, because the director was crying. Even the boom mic operator wiped his eyes. Keanu leaned in, still in character, and whispered something that wasn't in the script. Ana closed her eyes and nodded. "Cut," the director finally whispered. That was, I don't even know how to say it. Ana stepped off set, heart pounding. She found a corner behind one of the stage walls and sat down. For the first time since her return, she let herself feel everything. The exhaustion, the loss, the gratitude. All of it crashed into her like a wave. But she didn't break. A few minutes later, Keanu sat beside her, didn't say a word, just offered her a water bottle. "Thank you," she whispered. "You don't have to thank me." "I do." He looked at her gently. "Your silence says more than your words ever could." Ana took a deep breath. "I'm on set with you. I feel like I don't have to pretend." Keanu smiled, almost shy. "That's the goal." Later, that week, they had a day off. Ana didn't know how to spend it. She didn't want to go home. Too many memories. She didn't want to stay in her trailer either. Too many ghosts. So when Keanu texted, "Sunrise ride, you in?" she replied with one word, "Yes." At 5:30 the next morning, he picked her up in a vintage motorcycle. He brought her a helmet with a flower sticker on the side. "Found it at a thrift store," he said. "Thought it looked like something you'd laugh at." She did. They rode through the empty streets of Los Angeles, the wind cold against their skin, the world still asleep. As they reached the hills, the sky began to blush with color-first lavender, then orange, then gold. They parked at a quiet overlook. Ana sat on the edge of a stone wall, legs dangling. Keanu handed her a small thermos of tea. "You always have." "Tea?" she said with a smile. "It's a habit." "From who?" "My sister." Ana turned to him. "I didn't know you had a sister." She passed. Years ago, she placed her hand gently on his. "I'm sorry," he nodded. She taught me how to slow down, how to sit still, how to listen. Anna looked out at the sunrise. You're the best listener I've ever met. Keanu chuckled. That's because I talk too much in my head. What do you think about? He paused. What matters, he said finally, and whether I'm making the most of it. Are you? He thought for a moment. Some days, Anna nodded. Me too. They sat there in silence as the sun climbed higher. No words were needed. The wind carried the rest. That night, after they wrapped a late shoot, Keanu found Anna in the makeup room, alone, removing her eyeliner slowly. Big day tomorrow, he said. She nodded. Final scene. He leaned against the doorframe. Are you ready? I think so. You'll crush it. She smiled. You always believe? In me it's not hard, he said. You make it easy. She turned to him then. Something in her chest shifted. Something new. Or maybe something old that had been buried. What if I don't want this to end? She whispered. Keanu looked at her gently. What part? The film, the late night talks, the sunrise rides. He didn't answer right away then, softly. Some things don't have to end. They just change shape. And us? His eyes searched hers. We're just beginning. The next day, Anna gave the performance of her life, and Keanu stood with her, step for step, beat for beat, the director called cut with a shaky voice. The entire crew clapped. Someone shouted, that's a wrap. But Anna didn't move. She looked at Keanu, and he smiled. We did it, he said. She walked into his arms. Not dramatically, not like in the movies. Just gently, quietly, fully. And the whole set felt it. Not a kiss, not a confession. Just something stronger, something real. As the crew packed up, a reporter waiting outside tried to get a quote from Anna. Are you and Keanu dating? He asked. She smiled, then glanced toward Keanu, who was talking to a grip, laughing softly. We're learning each other, she said. Is that a yes? She paused. It's a beginning. And that was all she said, that evening as the last. Lights were turned off, and the set was dismantled. Keanu and Anna stood at the edge of the lot. So, what now? She asked. Keanu smiled. Life together. He looked into her eyes. If you'll have me. She took a breath. I don't know where it'll go. Me neither. But I'm willing to try. He reached for her hand. Then let's try. They walked away not as stars, not as icons, but as two souls who saw each other in their worst moments. It didn't run. The audition that changed everything. 2 months had passed since filming wrapped. The premiere was still weeks away. But life moved on. Anna found herself back in the quiet of her apartment, surrounded by books, old scripts, and silence. No call sheets, no early morning alarms, no makeup chairs, just stillness. She wasn't sure if she liked it. Some days she felt peace. Other days, a quiet ache. The ache of missing something or someone. Keanu had gone on a short trip to visit family in Canada. They still spoke almost every day, short messages, calls, and sometimes long voicemails that felt like letters read out loud. But being apart made her realize something she hadn't admitted before. She didn't just miss him. She needed him. Not in a way that made her feel small or weak, but in a way that made her feel more herself, and she didn't know what to do with. That at one morning her agent called. Anna, you've been offered an audition? She blinked. I thought I was taking a break. You are? But this is different. How different? It's for a biopic, very prestigious. The director asked for you personally. Why me? Because he saw footage from your last film. The one with Keanu. Anna felt her breath catch. Do I have time to think? Not really. Audition is in 3 days. She hung up, heart pounding. It wasn't just any biopic. It was about a real woman. A woman who had survived great loss. A woman who had risen through tragedy. A woman who, in many ways, reminded Anna of herself. She called Keanu that night. He answered with a sleepy voice. Anna, did I wake you? You could wake me up with silence and I'd still be happy. She smiled. I got an audition. That's great. I'm scared. Keanu paused. Because it matters? Yeah, then good. The ones that matter are supposed to scare you. Can you help me prepare? You mean now? I know you're away. I'll be there in the morning. Keanu, no. Shh. Don't have to. I want to.
Nice.
He arrived the next day with 2 cups of tea and a suitcase. You really came, she whispered. I told you, he said with a grin. I'm trying. They spent the next 2 days in her apartment, reading, rehearsing, unpacking the character. At one point, Anna broke down in the middle of a monologue, not because she forgot the lines, but because the words hit too close to her. Own story, Keanu didn't say anything. He just sat with her, waited, breathed with her. When she finally looked up, he said, You're not pretending anymore. That's why it hurts, and that's why it's beautiful. The audition day arrived. Anna wore simple clothes. No makeup. It's just herself. The room was full of producers, writers, and the director. She walked in, heart hammering in her chest. Whenever you're ready, they said. She took a deep breath and let the silence speak then. She began. She didn't act, she remembered. She felt. She allowed every scar on her heart to speak, and by the time she finished, there was nothing left to say. Silence. Then one of the producers stood and said, We've seen enough. She nodded. Double quotes. Thank you. As she left the building, she didn't know what would happen next, but she knew one thing for sure. She had given all of herself. That night, Keanu cooked dinner. Nothing fancy. Just soup and warm bread. How do you feel? He asked as they sat on the floor of her living room. Empty? In a good way? Yeah. Like I left something behind. Something heavy. Nodded. That's how you know it mattered. I think it's the first time I didn't try to impress them, she said softly. Maybe that's why you did. Anna looked at him. His eyes were calm, gentle, familiar, and she realized he wasn't just someone who showed up when she was hurting. He was someone who stayed when the hurt was gone, someone who didn't need her to shine to love her light. A week later, you got the call. You've got the part. Anna stood in the middle of her kitchen, stunned. Are you serious? They said your audition was unforgettable. She laughed and cried at the same time after she hung up. She called Keanu. He answered on the first ring. I got it, she said, voice shaking. I know. You knew? I saw you, and when someone sees you like that, the rest of the world eventually does too. Anna sat down, heart full. I wish you were here. Open your door. What? Open it. Open. He was standing there, phone still pressed to his ear, holding a small plant. For your next journey, he said. She laughed. A plant. It's alive. Like you. Fragile, but strong. She threw her arms around him. Not as friends, not as colleagues, but as something more. Something unspoken. Something real. In the weeks that followed, they grew closer. They didn't label it. They didn't rush it, but it showed in the small things, the way he made her laugh with old stories from set, the way she remembered how he liked his tea. 2 sugars, no milk, the way they could sit in silence for hours and still feel seen. And when she told him about the first time she ever dreamed of being an actress, he listened like it was a sacred story. I used to stand in front of the mirror, she said, and pretend I was someone else. Not because I didn't like who I was, but because I didn't know who that was yet. Now, he asked. Now I think I'm starting to figure it out. You've always been her. He said you just had to believe it. Anna looked down. I don't think I would have made it without you. Keanu shook his head. You did this. It's not me. But you helped me see it. He took her hand. Then I'll keep reminding you, till you never forget again. The premiere of their film finally came. Flashbulbs, interviews, red carpet chaos. Anna wore a simple dress, no diamonds, just elegance. Keanu walked beside her, quiet, steady, and when a reporter asked, what was the most emotional moment during filming? Anna didn't pause. The day I cried, she said, and Keanu didn't walk away. The reporter smiled. Is that when you became close? Anna looked at Keanu. He smiled softly. No, she said. That's when I realized I already was. The moment the world saw if night of the premiere ended late, but Anna didn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. It's the soft sound of Los Angeles drifting through her open window. Traffic hums, distant laughter, the occasional barking. Dog. But her mind wasn't on any of it. Her thoughts were with him, Keanu. He had walked her through her darkest hours, stood by her side, without ever asking for anything in return. And now the world was starting to see the bond they had built without them even saying it out loud, on social media. The photos of the red carpet were already going viral, not because of what they wore, not because of some dramatic pose, but because of one quiet moment Anna reaching for Keanu's hand, then him gently squeezing hers, like it was the most natural thing in the world. One post read, "That's not acting. That's love." Anna turned over in bed and smiled softly to herself. The next morning, her phone buzzed nonstop. Messages, emails, calls, her. New Film was already being called one of the year's most emotional performances. Critics praised her raw honesty. Directors she had never met were requesting meetings, but Anna didn't feel excited. She felt still, like all the noise outside couldn't reach the place inside her that mattered. Well, she sent Keanu a simple message. "Can we escape today?" He replied within seconds. "Already on my way." They drove for hours. No destination, just open roads, music, and silence between songs. Keanu played old classic soft rock. Acoustic tracks with lyrics that lingered. They didn't speak much, but every so often he'd glance at her and she'd smile. And that was enough. They ended up by a quiet lake. It was just before sunset. The sky turned gold, then pink, then deep purple. Anna kicked off her shoes and dipped her toes in the water. Keanu sat nearby, throwing small pebbles in, one by one. "Do you ever think about legacy?" Anna asked softly. He tilted his head. "What do you mean, like what we leave behind? Who we are when the cameras stop?" Keanu thought for a long moment. "I used to. And now I think more about what I leave behind in people, not the world." Anna let the words settle. "You left something in me," she whispered. Keanu didn't move. "What?" "Peace." He turned to her, then really turned, eyes locked on hers. "You gave me that too," he said. Anna took a breath. "So what are we?" Keanu blinked slowly. "I think we're what happens when pain doesn't win." She nodded. A tear slid down her cheek. But this time, it wasn't from grief. It was gratitude. A few days later, they attended a private screening of their film for industry guests. The room was filled with executives, producers, big names. Keanu sat beside Anna in the back row. They watched themselves on screen, watched the story they had poured their hearts into, and when the film ended, the room was silent. Then, a single clap, then more and more, until the whole room stood. A standing ovation. Keanu leaned toward Anna and whispered, "Breathe." She did, and it felt like the first breath of a new life. After the screening, a woman approached them, mid-50s. Calm voice, sharp eyes. "I'm sorry to interrupt," she said to Anna, "but I lost my daughter last year." Anna's heart paused. The woman smiled gently. "Your performance, it helped me grieve." Anna reached for her hand. "Thank you," the woman said, "for making us feel less alone." Anna didn't speak. She just pulled the woman into a hug, over the woman's shoulder. She saw Keanu watching, and she knew he understood exactly how much that moment meant. That night, Keanu invited her to his house for dinner. It wasn't fancy. He grilled vegetables, made rice, and poured her a cup of tea. They sat on his balcony, wrapped in light blankets. "Do you want to act forever?" he asked. "I don't know," she said. "I love it, but lately, I've been thinking about other things." "Like what?" "Writing, be directing one day, maybe starting a school back home." Keanu nodded. "You'd be good at that?" "About you. I want to tell stories that make people feel." "You already do," he smiled. "Do you think we'll ever work together again?" she asked. "I hope so. Me too." Pause. Then he added, "But even if we don't, I'll always be in your corner." She looked at him and finally said it out loud. I love you, Keanu. He didn't blink, Dade. Hesitate, I love you too, Anna. It's no grand gestures, no fireworks. Just two people, sitting in the quiet, choosing each other. A week later, Anna got a call from a journalist doing a feature on her for an international magazine. He asked questions about her childhood, her career, her future plans. Then he asked about Keanu. You and Mr. Reeves seem very close, he said. Anna smiled. He saved. Me, she replied. In what way? Not with one big moment, she said, but with 1,000 little ones. When the article was published, the quote made headlines. He saved me not with one big moment, but with 1,000 little ones. Saw the article? Was it too much? No, he said. It was perfect. Anna laughed. I'm learning to be brave with my truth. I'm learning to let someone in. We're a good pair. The best, he said soon after. Anna began filming the biopic she auditioned for. It was hard, emotionally draining, but different this time, because now she wasn't carrying the weight alone. Keanu visited the set often. Not to interfere, just to sit behind the scenes and read his book, just to walk her to her trailer when she was tired, just to remind her, without words, that she was never alone again. And sometimes, that was all she needed. One night, after a particularly difficult shoot, Anna curled up on her trailer couch. The director had pushed her hard. She had cried in the scene, and afterward, she felt raw, exposed. Her phone buzzed. A message from Keanu. Are you proud of yourself today? She replied, I think so. His response, then I am too. Anna stared at the screen for a long time. Then she whispered into the quiet, Thank you for loving all the broken parts of me. Even if he couldn't hear it, she knew he felt it, because he always did. The award, the silence. And what came after that night was louder than usual. It wasn't just another film festival. It was the Golden Leaf International Awards, a ceremony known for honoring performances that move the world, not just impressed. Anna had been nominated not for her looks, not for her name, but for something. Deeper, best lead performance in a biopic. The nomination meant more than she could say, not because it might bring her more roles, or headlines, or covers, but because she had bled for it. Every scene had cost her something. Every word in the script had echoed her real-life pain. And now, the world was watching. She stood in front of the mirror that night, hands slightly trembling as she adjusted the simple pearl earring on her left ear. Keanu stepped up behind her, dressed in a classic black suit. No tie, no effort to look fancy. Just Keanu. Steady as always. You ready? He asked. She looked at him in the mirror. Yes and no. He smiled. That's how you know it's real. She turned to face him. Thank you for being here. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. They left the hotel, hand in hand, cameras flashing as they arrived at the venue. Inside, everything sparkled, crystal chandeliers, gold trim, whispers of perfume and ambition in the air. Anna wasn't thinking about winning. She was thinking about her mother and about the version of herself who had once stood in a trailer, crying in silence, unsure if she even belonged here. The ceremony began. Awards were handed out. Thank you speeches filled with names. Agents, directors, and then the moment. A deep voice echoed through the grand hall. The winner for Best Lead. Performance in a biopic is Ana de Armas. The room erupted, but Anna froze. For just a second, her breath caught. She looked at Keanu. He didn't say anything. He just smiled, nodded, and whispered, Doe, go get what you earned. Anna stood and walked to the stage. The applause thundered, but all she could hear was her own heartbeat. She reached the podium, the golden statue. Felt heavier than she expected. She looked out at the crowd, and then down at her speech, and paused. Long pause. Then she folded the paper, put it away, and looked up. I wasn't going to say this, she began, voice steady but low. But tonight isn't about winning. Not really. It's the room quieted. This award means the world to me, not because of what it says about my work, but because of what it says about healing. She paused again. 2 years ago, I almost quit. Acting, I almost gave it all up. I was grieving, scared, and I didn't think I had anything left to give. She glanced at Keanu, but someone saw me. Someone didn't walk away when I cried. Someone stayed. People began to look toward him in the crowd. Keanu kept his eyes on her. He didn't give me a pep talk. He didn't try to fix me. Just listened. And sometimes, that's the most powerful thing anyone can do. Her voice cracked now. This award isn't just mine. It belongs to every person who ever felt like giving up, and to anyone who ever showed kindness when no one else noticed. She held the trophy up. This is for you. She stepped off the stage and walked straight into Keanu's arms. He held her tight, like the world could wait. The rest of the night blurred. Photos, questions, celebrations, but later, when the crowd had thinned and the cameras were gone, Keanu and Anna sat on the rooftop of their hotel, watching the city lights flicker below. "How do you feel?" he asked. "Light," she whispered. "Like something heavy left my chest. You deserved this." "So did you," she said, placing the trophy in his lap. "It's not just mine." He smiled but shook his head. "You earned it. I just stood beside you." "No," she said softly. "You gave me space to become." They sat there for a while. No plans, no scripts, no rehearsals, just presence. Anna turned to him. "You ever think about the first day we met? Every time you smile, I was broken. You were rebuilding. You caught me crying." "You caught me crying. And I stayed." Anna rested her head on his shoulder. "Will you keep staying?" Keanu kissed her forehead. "Until the very end." Months passed. Their film released worldwide. Interviews filled with laughter, audiences sent letters. A young girl from Argentina wrote, "After watching your movie, I decided to keep chasing my dream." An older woman from Japan wrote, "Your performance helped me grieve my sister." Anna kept the letters in a small box labeled light, because that's what she felt now. Not fame, not perfection, not even success, just light shared between hearts. A year later, she stood on a beach with Keanu. No crowd, no script, just waves and sand and a soft sky. They weren't filming anything. They weren't preparing for a role. They were just living. Anna took his hand. "You changed my life," she whispered. Keanu smiled. "You changed your own." She leaned her head against him, and together they stood in silence. Because sometimes love doesn't need to be declared. It just needs to be shown in the waiting, in the staying, in the moments when one tear becomes a beginning.